You already know where I'm going with it. And we are live, baby. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Deadhead Podcast, episode 43. Super excited for this one because we're talking about my personal game of the year contender, Final Fantasy VII
Already,
Rebirth.
11 hours in.
So, Jan, how's it going, buddy?
I'm doing pretty well, actually. I went to watch Dune with the fam yesterday,
Oh, yeah? How
and
was that?
yeah, oh man, I loved it. I
Oh, all
just,
right.
yeah, I mean, it's that kind of movie is that it's one of those that just speaks to me,
Mhm.
both thematically, both story-wise, but it's also the way it's executed, right? The music, the cinematography, the
Yeah.
lighting. It's just fantastic. It's really an experience, especially watching it at the cinema on
Hmm.
that big screen. It was fantastic, cathartic almost.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you're
yeah.
so you're a big fan
Recommend it.
of you're the big fan of the first one as well, I'm assuming.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, my mom kind of got me into those. We watched the very first adaptation of the books, which came
Oh,
out
yeah.
like in the 80s. But that one's more, it's more of like a cult classic. It's not really good. It's not really good quality wise. It's more so. It's very how do you say? It's charming, right?
Hmm.
Even though it does a lot of stuff wrong, right? So when they announced, when Dennis Villeneuve said he's gonna make a new adaptation, my mom just flipped, and she brought all of us to see the first part. We really liked it, and now we saw the second part, and we were all on board because
Hmm.
she kind of managed to give us the fever, right? The Dune fever.
Yeah.
My only regret is not buying the popcorn, the special
Oh,
popcorn.
yeah. Yeah.
They were sold out. I was very
That's too
bummed out about that.
that's too bad. Yeah, you could have got multiple uses out of that.
Yeah, I wanted to buy two actually. One was for to put on the shelf, and another one is for more of a disposable kind.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I got you. I got you. Yeah. Yeah, no, I've actually never seen, so I saw the original. I did see the original like back in the
Hmm.
80s, years ago, but don't ask me anything about it because I wasn't as into it. The first one interested me because it has the first I guess like the retelling of it, the first retelling
Hmm.
of it that came out most recently because it has like the actors in this movie are out of this world. I mean, it's got a
Oh yeah.
star-studded cast, and I was like, oh, that looks pretty good. But me and the wife just have never committed to it yet. So I would like to get into it, but that's good. I'm glad to hear that from you because Brandon just I know me and
Uh-huh.
yeah, we talked to Brandon. You guys on the if you guys are returning viewers of the show, we had Brandon of Murata Media. He's a huge movie guy. He sings this series praises, and I just wanted to see if the same hype was there. So I'm glad to hear that from you
Definitely.
because this is the guy that thinks Barbie is one of the greatest movies to come out in 2023. So it's good to
Um,
see that there's somebody who's a little bit more diplomatic in a sense to tell me that it's really good. So
yeah, no, no, I'm telling you, you'll find something for you in this movie for sure.
okay, good deal, good deal. Yeah, we're actually watching. So me and the wife, so we've been kind of watching classic movie series here lately. We're not. I'm more of a movie watcher than a show watcher, and I think we've had this conversation
Hmm.
before. And so my wife, she's really into like the Saw franchise, the Saw, like
Hmm.
the
Yeah, I
Jigsaw
get
and
it.
all that. There's 10 movies in that. We watched all 10
Yeah.
films, and I didn't think I was gonna like them because I'm not really much into that like torture porn kind of thing,
Hmm.
putting people in traps and stuff. But I was actually really invested throughout the whole thing. And even though the last few movies got kind of weird, I was still
Hmm.
I was kind of into it. And now the music is like stuck in my head from those films. I love the main character, the character of Jigsaw. Great films. Had a really good time with it. So after that, we watched all the Underworld movies with Kate Beckinsale. You know what I'm talking
Oh
about?
damn. Yeah, I
We
never
watched
seen those.
we watched all those. I was not a fan of those. My
Mm.
dad watched them a lot when he was growing up. Well, not growing up, but when I was growing up, he's watched them a lot. And those movies are corny as hell. The '90s cheese is like through the roof, and I just thought they were kind of a chore to get through. Like they were really hard to get through. So
How many of
now
them are there?
there's five altogether. We watched all five of them. So I can't say confidently that we watched all of them, and it was a decent enough time. But I was falling asleep through some of them, and I don't go to sleep during movies, so it had to been boring the shit out of me.
Yeah, that's
So now we're on the Matrix. I
Oh, damn,
watched.
that's a big one.
So this is gonna sound really bad. I watched the original Matrix when I was a kid, and I remembered enjoying it, but I was a kid. I couldn't really fully appreciate it, and I never returned to watch the Matrix Reloaded. The Matrix what was
Holy
the other
smokes.
one?
Revenge. No, it's not
Revolution.
Revenge.
It's a Revolution. Matrix
It
Revolution.
might be. It might be. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I sure as hell haven't seen the newest one because I actually hear that one's pretty bad, but I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
Revelations.
But the first one, I forgot how great that film is. Now, don't get me wrong,
It's goated.
that movie's got a lot of 90s cheese as well. But I was so
What do you mean by 90s
really,
cheese?
I guess Keanu Reeves is a lot of it because Reeves, I love Keanu Reeves, but like some of his like lines like guns, lots of guns. Like it's just very like cheesy kind of stuff.
The action movie kind of thing. Yeah.
And
okay.
you know, like some of the action scenes, like the slow-mo, the music during the fight scenes.
Dude, but that was
it's
the
awesome.
first movie
Pretty
to ever
great.
do that.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, you see that you see that backwards dodge like all the time now, where like you've been backwards and bullets are coming through. Yeah, it was
bullet
good.
time at all. I mean,
Dude,
imagine without that, we wouldn't have had Max Payne.
Oh, that's true.
Or a bunch of other ones.
That's true. That's true. And I love that. That's a great gameplay mechanic. But my wife actually, and I know we're gonna talk about Final Fantasy in a minute, but my wife, she liked all the Underworld movies. She enjoyed them. I thought they were kind of drab. But when we get to the Matrix, I thought the Matrix, like the story was awesome. Like I was so I was so intrigued by it. She said that it was too much talking in the movie. Like it was too much like slow moments. I'm like, man, get the hell. So you'd rather watch a movie series about these vampires wearing these tight black clothes, like hissing at each other.
About, dude? I don't even know.
All right, so I don't really know either. And just to give it a gist, and we'll get into the meat and potatoes of the episode. Essentially it's like this coven of vampires, and Kate Beckinsale is like, I forgot what they call, like she's a title. Essentially what she does is she hunts down like lichens. Like that's her main job. This whole like her whole thing, her part of the coven is she takes down werewolves. That's pretty much it. And so essentially you got like these, and it's so stupid and it's ridiculous. It's like these three vampire elders, and they were kind of like the start of the vampiric curse, and it's bullshit. Listen, it's just weird, okay? And I don't,
it's classic, whatever. Like early 2000s.
Yeah, it's very gloomy. You got these vampires in these tight black clothes. There's also this guy that's like a hybrid, so he's like half vampire, half werewolf, and he's like the main character. Like besides Kate Beckinsale's character, he's like the main character in this series. And dude, I don't want to spoil it because there's really not much story in these movies anyway. But the things they do with his character makes absolutely no fucking sense. And I don't even care. Like I don't even care about these characters that much. But I'm watching and I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. So you built this guy. Forget it. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it, so forget it. But it's stupid. It's really stupid.
So what you're telling me is that it's the kind of movie to watch when you're high or something like that.
I think I would have enjoyed it.
Enjoy it, yeah.
I think so, and that's the thing. Like I know there's a cult following for this, just like much everything else. So there's probably I don't want to do that to someone's favorite franchise. This might be like everybody else's Red Dead or everyone else's Persona 3. Or like a Walking Dead. Like I love Walking Dead. This might be their Walking Dead, but this is some weirdo stuff like to me. And it's like the story just isn't, I don't know, man. The story was kind of whack to me, but anyway, that's not what we're here to do. Real quick, before we get into the Final Fantasy discussion, just a little bit of housekeeping. Again, thank you guys for coming for episode 43 of the Deadhead Podcast. Wouldn't mind following us everywhere. The links to all of our socials in our bio. So BFL's there. If you're on Apple Podcasts, thank you guys for listening. Eventually, this episode will be on there. And if you're listening now, hey, how's it going? And stay tuned for more Final Fantasy content in the future. Jan had put some deluxe edition Final Fantasy VII Rebirth images on our socials. I also did an unboxing on the channel for like 2 views, by the way. So if you want to check that out, I would love to get a little bit of those views up. Yeah, we got some fun stuff coming. We got some guests going to be on the show soon. And we're excited, man. This year of 2024 is looking good. And so to kick off even more excitement, let's talk about a goated game. Let's talk about the game of the year. It's the game of the year. It just is. Jan,
Sure.
maybe you should go first because I'm about to suck this shit off. So you might want to.
All right. Okay, so I'll leave you sloppy seconds. All right.
Yeah,
sure.
you can tickle. Yeah, you can tickle the balls a little bit. I'll do the.
All right. Yeah, before you fucking wring it dry. Sure. So I played. So for background, I played for 11 hours and some minutes. I
Me
got
too.
to the Junon region.
Mhm.
I finished all the side activities in the little prairie next to Calm. All of them, did all of them. Started doing some of them in Junon, and that's where I'm at for
Mhm.
context.
I'm there too. I didn't do all the side quests, but I'm the same area.
Mhm. Cool. So yeah, what's there to say? I mean, I loved Remake when it came out. I love the combat. I love the aesthetics of the graphics. It looks very good. It looks very good today. And this is more of that, which is fantastic, right? It's a continuation of the story. Only
Mhm.
now it's an open world game. Because of course, if you played the original, you know that once you escape Midgard, that's when the game actually opens up. I mean, Midgard, the section we play in Remake, that whole game is pretty much just a prologue, right?
Mhm.
It's like a very first chapter. It's like a huge tutorial, right? That's when Escape Midgard, then when the game actually starts, right? You start hearing those fantastic, there's fantastic music, right? The fantastic score, the one that goes,
There.
that one, and
I
yeah,
apologize to anybody's ears, but yeah, that one.
yeah. Earphone users, beware. But I might do that again during this episode. So so yeah, what's there to say? So break it down for you. Combat, great. They actually managed to improve on it. They changed a few of some quirks about the characters. Now Aerith, if you hold the button down, she actually charges an attack. Well, before she would spamming or holding down would actually do the same thing. And now by holding down, you do what used to be triangle on her. And now triangle actually teleports her around, which seems kind of useless at first until you realize that if you put one of those fairy circles, which double your magic, if you teleport, you could actually automatically teleport onto those, which is fantastic. You just bait enemies around and then you teleport into the circle, start blasting them with magic. I love it. And the fact that it managed to make playing as the mage fun in this game is, it just it kind of proves my point. Now you actually get to play with more characters. You only had 4 in Remake. Now you have Nanaki or Red 13. And we'll have more later on, but for now, when we try Red 13, he has a fun mechanic with where you pretty much it entices you to block attacks, right? Use your block, so it fills your gauge, and once you fill it once you fill it enough, you get to enter into hacks mode pretty much. It powers up even some moves. It's very fun. Now, the story hasn't really picked up yet. It is kind of confusing though. It's something like the very first cutscene is very confusing, and I still cannot make any sense of it. I don't know about you.
All right, go ahead. It's all right.
The very
Spoiler warning, by the way.
very first cutscene, yeah, very light spoilers. So okay, so in the end of the first game of Remake, they killed the plot ghosts, and the plot ghosts are pretty much what we're keeping the original game story intact, right? Every time the story seemed to be deviating, the plot ghosts would come and make people stick to the script. At the end of that one, they killed the plot ghost. So now, and that's why they call this game the unknown journey, right? Because anything goes now. It doesn't have to follow the script of the original. And something did change. Zack survived. As you know, if you played Reunion, which came out, a year and a half ago, Zack is supposed to die during that very battle after saving Cloud. He actually survives here. And there is a very puzzling cutscene at the beginning of this game where I really don't understand what's going on. Because we know that our characters made it out of Midgard, but in this cutscene, all the main characters, right, like Red 13, Ares, Cloud, Barret, all of them,
Where they're in the stretchers.
Yeah, they're in the stretchers. They're pretty much they say that a plate has fallen, and they are in the debris, right? They're being rescued. They're being brought to a hospital, but probably be kept as prisoners afterwards. And Zack comes in to save them. And he saves Aerith, right? He gets Aerith, and then she's unconscious, and while he's holding her, right, once he gets her to safety, while he's holding her, her little bead that she keeps uses to keep her hair together falls off in the same fashion which it falls off when she dies in the main game. And she dies, right? We all know the cutscene.
Right,
She
right,
gets
right.
stabbed by Sephiroth,
Yeah.
and her bead, it falls in the same way, and he starts crying. He's like, "Oh no, wait, man!" So
Yeah.
it seems like she's dead, and I'm so confused at this point. And then the game
Oh,
just
just continue.
pulls a
Yeah.
180, and goes back to where I expected it to come, right?
Right.
With Cloud, with Cloud in calm after escape Midgar, he's telling people, breaking it down for him, telling, okay, this is how I met Sephiroth. So
Hmm.
yeah, and as far as I've played, it's pretty much sticking to the original script for now,
Yeah.
except
Right.
this very weird cutscene at the beginning.
Yeah. I forgot, honestly, like, and I don't mean to cut you off, but it's like I forgot because I'm 11 and a half hours into, and I've put, I mean, that's a lot of time, especially for me, because I've been so busy, but I've just been playing like every night since it's been out, just trying to put as much hours as I can. I completely forgot about that scene. I had to get you to remind me of that, because yeah, that is weird. It just happened, and then it
like,
just,
what's happening there?
yeah, right, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, maybe it's like a flash forward, right? Like one of the, like those movies, the start we did like in medias res, and then
Yeah,
the main character goes, "You're probably wondering how I got here."
dude, it was cool, like
Oh
playing as Zack for a couple minutes,
yeah, you
right?
get to play. He plays a
But
little bit different than
yeah,
Cloud.
he does, and I'm
Mhm,
glad too, because I was a little worried
mhm,
about that, because obviously, if you know the original story, why they fight so similar. But in this,
mhm.
it felt different. I'm excited to see if we get to play him as him some more, and if we can actually have a bit more abilities, because obviously all you could do was just spam square. I mean, you
Yeah,
couldn't
it
really
was a
do anything
tutorial.
else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, that is. I mean, if you get to play as him, I'm wondering when do you play as him, right? So obviously, now that he's alive, he's gonna,
yeah,
he's somehow gonna affect the story, but I
yeah.
don't know how.
By the way, it was a really nice touch. And again, spoiler warning. Okay, we're gonna spoil the shit out of the first 10 hours. I mean, at least where we're at, right?
The
We're
first
not
10
in.
hours, the
We're not.
original, the
Yeah,
first
we're not.
remake, the original
Yeah,
game, all.
that's right. And we're not 10 hours into the story, but we put almost 11, 11 and a half hours into it. The scene where the Nibelheim section at the very beginning, where it's going through
Yeah.
the whole events of Crisis Core, it was a cool touch. So after Sephiroth is like setting a blaze to everything, uh,
Hmm.
C- Cloud is walking towards Cloud's
Right.
house, and there's a soldier on the ground. What a soldier! There's a,
Yes.
he's on the ground
Uh,
and he's crawling towards the house, and you hear him go, "Mom!" You heard him about to say
right.
"Mom," and I wonder if
Yep.
anybody else caught that. Because I thought that was a
Yeah.
good little touch, which we know the story, we know that, but I'm
I
just
mean,
saying, I thought that was a good little touch to make him go, "Mom!" Like, I thought it was super
you know,
cool,
you know what I'm wondering? Because I mean, we know what I'm wondering because we know. Spoiler warning. We know, right? What was actually going on in that flashback, and to me, it's super obvious, right? Because I mean, because Cloud acts very weird in that
Yeah,
flashback.
very
He
weird.
acts
Yeah.
very
When he was
uncharacteristic.
doing the squats, I was like,
He
"What
does
the
the squat, right?
fuck?"
But the way he talks too, right? He goes to the other infantryman. He goes, "Hey, what about you? Have you got any relatives? Girlfriend, maybe?"
Yeah, yeah, that definitely does
uh,
not. Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's gonna be funny to the people who don't know that. They were like, "What the fuck
yeah,
is up with Cloud? Like, what happened?" Like, for him to be
yeah,
so
yeah. I
stoic
hope
when
it's
you
not.
see him.
Yeah, I hope it's not too obvious, right? Because in the
Yeah,
original, it's not that, right? It's not. I mean, obviously, the little sprites they got are not that expressive.
yeah.
I hope it doesn't get. But yeah, you're right. I did love that little hair. I liked
Good.
it. I
It was a
liked it
good
a lot.
little. It was a good little touch. I
Mhm.
like where you heard him saying "Mom," but he couldn't finish the.
Mhm.
I just love that. I thought that was great. Like that whole
Yeah.
sequence. That whole sequence was awesome. The only thing
Yeah.
is, I hate. This is. I'll get into that in a minute. Go ahead. You finish. Is there anything else? What else
Yeah.
stood out? What else stood out to you? I know this is more of like a broader thing. So what stood out
Yeah.
to you?
I mean, the main thing that I'm looking for now is obviously that, right? What's going to be different? I'm pretty much just looking for the little differences. And but besides that, besides the story, now I can't really think. But one thing that I did want to say is that as much as I think that gameplay as a whole, like the combat, like the basics, the fundamentals are pretty good. I'm not having. I'm kind of. I don't know. Maybe it's open world fatigue. but I don't love too much that the whole open world section. I don't know.
Hmm.
It's actually, I mean, I don't mind. I don't mind the little Assassin's Creed towers. I really don't. I don't mind the side activities. I don't mind, having to sniff around with a chocobo and all that. I really don't. What I do mind is that Chadley has to butt in every time I complete an activity. Like, dude, shut up.
Dude.
It's like, I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
Like in the first game, right? I kind of accepted him because, since the game is very linear, because of course you have to, like, there's no way to make it open-ended, right? So they had him give you the little the VR, the VR
Hmm.
missions. I thought, okay, it's kind of cheap, but it makes sense. I mean, how else are you gonna do it, right? How else are you gonna have, extra fights and extra content in this very linear structure? But now that it's open world, you can do anything. Why? So why, oh why get back to Chadley? I mean, I don't hate him, but I don't love him enough to see him so often. I mean, he's
Dude.
pretty much a main character at this point.
Dude, he
Like
is. It seems
every
like it.
time you complete a side activity, he goes, "Oh, Clown, thanks for scanning out this place for me. I'm not scanning out for you. I'm saving the fucking world, dude. I'm doing this for me." And and it's every time. And you know what's worse? You have used the little device, right, to scan
Yeah, right, right.
what's it called, the Mako, or do whatever.
Yeah,
You do a
yeah.
little device, and every time you complete an activity, Hulk puts it back in his pocket, only to Charlie to call him. Oh, he's like, "Oh, wake up! Oh, let's open it again." Only for him to say, "Oh, now that you've done this, you have even more set activities. Aren't you happy about that?" Uh,
Dude, what's his
yeah, man.
little? What's her name? Is it Me? Is that her name? The is dude.
Mia, something
I
like that. Yeah.
I was gonna get into this part
Mm.
but now that you brought it up, it's one of the most annoying things in the world. Like you'll come across an encounter that you got to get intel for specifically, and
Oh
you have
yeah.
well, you have objectives to like what you need
Uh-huh.
to do.
Yes, yes,
All right,
yes.
so I was having a hard time with that at first, but when you get to the hang of it, you can knock them out pretty
Hmm.
easily. I've done a lot of those, but dude, it's so annoying. She'll be talking to you while you're fighting, and I can't hear shit. I can't hear anything she's
Yeah.
saying. He's just blah 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 blah. I'm just like, what the fuck are you saying? Like I was having a real hard time with that. And her dialogue's popping up on the side of the screen so you can kind of keep up with it. But it's like so much shit's going on. I'm not paying attention to that.
Yeah, no, no, I agree. I was actually gonna say that too. So yeah, what's happening is that you're fighting the monster, right? So there's that. There's a normal fight, but also there are like special conditions, right? You have like special things. You gotta or either stagger an enemy or stagger them during like a specific moment, or finish the battle on a timer. You got a timer up there, so you got that. So you got the battle. On the upper left corner, you got the conditions. On the upper corner, on up there on the screen, you got a timer. Then on the left there, you got the dialogue from this chick who's talking all around. She's just blabbering all the time. I mean, I was feeling kind of weepy, so I'm rocking the Japanese voices right now.
Oh, okay. I got you.
So I wouldn't be able to understand her anyway.
That's right.
But it's
That's right.
like, but I mean, even if I could, as you said, like I can't. I mean, I'm not gonna listen to her, right? And,
Dude.
she, and for once, I actually read what she's saying. She's saying like the most generic intel ever. She's saying, "Well, these creatures right there, they attack you with their big claws. I actually want to study that. That's why you gotta fight them, because we want to study those. Because remember, this is all for the World Dossier, whatever it is called, the big database,
Hmm.
world database, which I
Yeah.
guess Cloud, this ragtag team of people, these criminals, these outlaws, are apparently like the best possible team to make like an empiric investigation about
Yeah.
all of Midgard. Like, yeah, we're gonna fucking chart the whole world. I mean, it's so
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah, yeah. And
whatever.
speaking of Chadley,
Mm-hmm.
there's also like when I first got to the Junon region, I went to
Mm-hmm.
the first little chocobo farm. As soon as I got there, I went straight to the chocobo farm because I saw there was a side quest in that farm area. But
Mm-hmm.
then I saw Chadley, and I was like, okay, well, I might go ahead and I'll get to this later on. I went ahead and I wanted to fight the Titan. I almost called him
Mm-hmm.
an icon. Almost said an icon.
Almost.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I wanted to get the Titan summon, and he was beating my ass, which I will get into that. So I was like, I want to beat him. I think I can do it. I leveled up like 5 or 6 levels. I think I can take him on. But as soon as I get to Chadley's like, I notice you haven't. Uh, got any intel in a while. But I know you'll stay on the task because you're a good. Well, I forgot what he said. I'm like, dude,
Yeah, I got that too.
I've been in a cave for like like an hour or two. What did you expect me to do? I hate you.
Dude, no, yeah, honestly, he's getting. I mean, I simply didn't mind him in the
Yeah.
first game, but in this one, he's too much. He overstepped.
Yeah,
Know your limits.
it's like you said, he's like it's almost like he's one of the main cast almost, or at least like a a pretty prominent character.
Yeah, he might as well join up. Wouldn't he become like a party member? You know what? Why can't the big twist be that actually all of Claw's memories are actually Chadley's memories, right? He's actually the one.
Oh my
No,
god.
no,
I will never
Okay.
use him ever.
But okay, one last negative take, and
Okay.
then we can go on to praising it. You mentioned that you can fight. You speak to Chadley, much like in the first game.
Mhm.
You speak to Chadley, he makes you fight the Titans. So that's how you get their materials. That's lame as hell. Again, in the first game, that made sense because how else would you get the summons, right?
Right.
Right. There's just no way. This time it's open world. This time there's no excuse. Why can't I just find the summons in the big outdoors?
That would
Why
be
do I
cool.
gotta? I mean, that's how you do it in the original game. You explore and you find the friggin' materia. I mean, what is this shit? How is he synthesizing gods? I mean, I was excusing it in the first game because there's no other way to do it, right? You can't find, again, god-like powers in Midgard. So the excuse that this is some kind of synthesized, right, fall version of the summons, I was going to accept it. I wasn't even going to accept that some kind of Metroidvania explanation that as soon as they get out, they're like, oh shit, our summon materials don't work. And Chadley goes, yeah, well, actually, those aren't your real summon materials. You actually got to fetch them now. I wasn't going to accept that because, it would make sense. But no, not only do you get to keep many of them, especially if you have like a backup save of the last game, of the demo, not only do you get to keep them, you didn't even get to find and actually the other ones. It's again through fucking Chadley. Yeah. And I don't understand why can't I fight Titan by finding him somewhere? Why can't he tell me, hey, yeah, we got enough intel, and I think Titan might be there. Go fight him. And then again, he can make the material if he wants to. If he wants to be such an important character, sure, I don't give a shit. Why does it have to be in virtual reality?
Right. And so, real quick, I don't mean to cut you off, but when it comes to the summons in the remake, because I don't remember, because I haven't started that game in a while. When do you get your first summon in the remake? Like, you get it? You get them all from Chadley, or do you get one from like a quest?
Oh god, I can't remember. I know that all the cool ones you get from Chadley. For sure. Like all the actual ones, like Titan, Leviathan, Shiva.
Yeah.
You might get like I don't know, like Choco Moguri somehow else.
Right.
But,
yeah. That's a good point. I mean, I honestly, like, you're thinking about it in a whole different way, which which is good because, see, for me, like, it's exciting for me because I kind of started on the Final Fantasy VII train a lot later in life. So like, it's good to have you as someone who's more adept in that. Like, when things are, well, I know, like, this is the unknown journey, so obviously things are going to happen differently. But when it comes to like the summon stuff, I didn't even think about that. Like, when comparing it to the original game, how you got summons, and that, I think you're 100% right. Like, I didn't think about that. Like, I don't really have a problem with Chadley having the materia for the summons, but I agree with you 100%. I wish it was open world because I think with the visuals that this game possesses, and like I said, we'll get more into that. But with the way it looks, how big this game is, good God, this thing's 150 gigs, if not a little bit more.
Yeah.
This is a huge game. So why couldn't you have the summons in certain spots? Like, wouldn't it be cool to get the Leviathan materia when you get to what's the next spot in this game? So there's Junon, there's the grasslands. There's
Costa del Sol.
Yeah, maybe you go there and Leviathan's at that. That would be sick, because it's kind of like water.
Imagine exactly. Imagine you're like, I imagine that at some point you're going to be able to, travel by sea. Maybe we don't, but imagine like we're traveling by sea. You get to like some sort of island, and people are telling you're drawn to the island because people are telling you, oh shit, the island's really dangerous. Those waters really dangerous. Don't go there. But you go there and you freaking meet Leviathan, right? and you have to fight him. Or you're exploring a cave, right? And it's near all this volcanic activity, and that's where you find Titan. Just fight. It's like, oh shit. But no, instead it's a fucking simulation. It's not as exciting.
You know what's the thing? You know what the thing is,
Mhm.
man? I'm gonna tell you
What?
what the thing is because I mentioned this. I mentioned this in my unboxing for the deluxe edition about how Final Fantasy 16. I listen. I, despite all of its issues,
Hmm.
the icons, the summons in that game, the designs, how scary they look, how intimidating. 16 really did a good job with that.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
true.
when you see them here in 7 Rebirth and Remake, it's not that they look bad, but they don't look as fierce than they do as in the 16. In my opinion.
Yeah,
I'm not
no,
saying it's true,
sure.
but in my opinion, I feel like in 16 these jokers look so scary. They look so. I just remember that scene in when you're fighting the Titan in Final Fantasy 16, just how
Hmm.
huge the Titan is
Yeah.
and how scary he was. Like if Freed is like this big and freaky shit, man. And when you see it
I'll,
in remake and rebirth, it's not bad. It just feels like you're playing as the toy versions compared to what they. You know what I'm saying?
no, you're right. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't like shit my pants because he looks scary. Shit my pants because I stumbled upon this demon.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
more
yeah,
about that, you know. That's the. But yeah, besides that, yeah, good game.
yeah.
I like that there's like an affinity system. There was one in remake too, but it was kind of hidden.
Hmm.
In this one, it's actually pretty in the original game too. It was kind of a hidden system. Here, it's pretty outspoken. Like do certain things, this character's gonna like you more. And I'm guessing that the big moment, there might be more moments that change based on your affinity to certain characters, but the big one is gonna be the gold saucer. Now you might don't know what I'm talking about, but
No, I know what you're talking
yeah, the gold saucer. How much do you know? Because like I know
about.
that you.
I know probably up to that. So I don't know beat from beat. I know more of the areas of the game as
Hmm.
opposed to like the exact story beat. So I'm kind of going into it probably with a more like clean slate than you. So
Hmm.
that's why it's going to be fun as we get further into this because like you say, like where we're at in the story right now, it's very tame. It's very tame. It's kind of what
Hmm.
we expect. Like I what I did was before this game dropped, I had to go back, find, track what happened in the remake. I never finished Intergrade. I never finished Intergrade. I
Oh
know.
damn!
I
Really? It's
can't.
pretty
I can't.
short.
st- I can't stand Yuffie. I can't. But that's besides the
Or
point.
you're gonna love her here then.
Um, I haven't met her yet, so I'm not even at
Yeah.
the point. But anyway. So I had to look at the story for that, and I also went to the original Final Fantasy VII just to catch up and see about where the game is headed. So I know probably up to that point, obviously know how Aerith dies. I have a general understanding of what happens, but as far as the minute details, it's been years since I've played that. I mean, I didn't to me like I'm kind of like our last guest for all you guys that are listening. We had the Arcane Pain on the show last week, and he talked about how Final Fantasy X was his entry into the series. It was mine as well. I played Kingdom Hearts first. I saw the characters in Final Fantasy X. I said, "Oh, cool." Checked out Final Fantasy X, loved it, and then I started kind of playing them, every so often. But see, 7, it's in that weird zone where it's not as old as like Final Fantasy 2 or 3, but it's still old enough where it's on the PS1. So I just never really took the time to really completely get deep into that game because it's a little bit
Hmm.
older. And for me, it takes me a little bit. Like I can play older games, but it takes me a little bit to get into them like that. But what I'm saying is, I have a general understanding, but I don't know exactly what happens from place to place, if that makes sense. And I'm
Yeah.
completely open with that. And I know I'm a noob. I get it. I just love
Yeah. No,
Final
it's fine.
Fantasy, so I just love Final
Yeah, no,
Fantasy.
it's fine. I mean, I'm not. It's not like I'm a grandmaster. I haven't like played it a bunch of times. I went through it like once or twice,
Mm-hmm.
and that was like when I played remake, right, for the first time. I was completely blind. I haven't played originally either, but I liked remake so much. I was like,
Oh,
okay,
okay.
shit, I actually want to see where this
So
goes.
you went back after completing remake. I
Yes, I
got
went
you.
back
Yeah.
because it's pretty much been ported to every single device on Earth,
Mm-hmm.
device by man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just downloaded it and played through it.
Yeah.
Sunk a few good hours in it, about like 50 hours, which
Did you? So did you ever finish it?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, yeah, 50 hours might not seem like much, but I was like following a guide because you know how cryptic these games can be. Yeah, speaking about that, the original game, once you get out of Midgard, it gets very open-ended. It gets very open-ended. Well, here they're kind of still holding your hand, but I mean it's
Yeah.
okay. It's just
Yeah, it's more modernized in a way
yeah, it's
that
more
it's kind of
modernized.
it's trying to like appeal to the RPG audience, but also it's also trying to make it a little mainstream as well. Maybe not as mainstream as like 16 was trying to do, but yeah, no. So anyway, that's my whole thing. I love these characters and I love the remake. I was excited for Rebirth, and you know, I can say without a shadow of a doubt, it's met every expectation. I don't know about more because I knew this game was going to be great. So
Mm-hmm.
to go into a little bit, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go.
I'll wait until
Go
the
ahead.
end to see. Like, no. I'll let you. You know, I'm giving you the
Right.
floor, but I'm just saying that
Yeah.
I'd wait until like the end game to see if it surpasses expectations. I think that's where
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
the big
I got a
surprises are gonna
feeling.
be.
I got a feeling this story is going to move me in some way, shape, or form. I just got a
Uh,
feeling somehow because I'm young. I mean, like this is for me. Like, and again, this. I know you joke about me with Red Dead and things like that, but I love these characters. I do enjoy these characters, except for Yuffie. I enjoy these characters, and I want to see they're so good together. There's so much good chemistry between them. And I just can't wait to see where it goes. And I like you said, the affinity system, being able to have relationships. I am curious to see how that's going to tie into the story, if that's really going to change anything, or if it's going to be like remake where it's only going to change like a couple scenes. Like there's
I
like
think that's what it's gonna be.
yeah.
I think that's what it's gonna be. Yeah.
So let me start off with negatives first, and really they're not negatives. I think I
Mm.
was talking to Jan privately. I said I had like two gripes really, and they're
Let's
so
hear 'em.
small, but it's ridiculous, right? Um, I hate the fact that you can't jump. I hate that you can't fucking jump. So I know that you can ride a chocobo and you can move a little bit fast. I don't care that we move like you can sprint, obviously, but who the hell's gonna hold down the sprint button the entire time while you're playing? I don't normally do
Right.
that. But the terrain is so jagged at times that I feel like because I'm playing as Cloud mostly. I don't know if you've changed your team leader. I'm still playing as Cloud.
You can't change the one in the overworld.
What was that?
You can't change the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the character you play as in the overworld. It's always Cloud.
Oh, oh, I
Unless
thought. Oh, I thought in the trailers that was coming out saying that you could maybe you can't do it yet. Maybe that's what.
maybe yeah, you can do it. Yeah. As you know, if you change
Um.
the leader in your like
Yeah.
tactics, all it does is change the character that you play as during the fights.
Okay. I
So
got you.
you're Cloud, and then as soon as the fight starts, you get to T power Ares or
Okay.
whoever.
I got you. Yeah, because I think in the trailer was showing that you could eventually play as somebody else in the open world. Because I think Tifa has a grappling hook or something, and
What if?
everybody has their own thing as to how they get around. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, they did
Yeah.
talk about
We
that. Yeah,
just
you
might
might
not.
be
We
right.
just might not be at that point yet. But
Or maybe it's like
not.
in the remake where only at certain points you get to play
Yeah.
as the other characters. It could be
That
that.
sucks because I kind of hope there
Mhm.
is more ways to traversal
Mhm.
because I hate the fact you can't jump. Now I know in the remake you couldn't jump either, so I'm not trying to add things that weren't in the remake to Rebirth, but I would have liked to being able to jump just a little bit instead of giving me the option to roll whenever I want to outside of combat. Let me jump. I think that would make the gameplay way more way smoother because right now it's like I feel like I get caught up on so much crap when I'm just running around the open world, and
Yeah.
that was kind of annoying me a bit, just a little bit. It wasn't bad. I was just like, come on, man, just let me jump, please. I don't know
Yeah.
if it bothered you. Did anything like that bother you, or did you not really
Yeah.
care? That
No,
was just me.
definitely. I know it happens to me all the time, especially when I ride the chocobos, because when you get we sometimes they get stuck on everything, right? And it totally stops your momentum. Like you're riding them, you're like dashing, you're going full speed, and they just go. Wah! They just fucking stop at like anything, like a little bear on the floor or whatever.
Yeah,
And yeah,
yeah,
you can press. Funny enough, you can press circle to parkour,
yeah, yeah,
but but it doesn't like it works, but it doesn't work on all kinds of terrain, right? There's
yeah,
some obstacles that you're just expected to
yeah,
uh, detour. How do
yeah,
you say? You just go around. Yeah,
yeah.
it's very annoying. I agree, but I don't know if a jump button would fix it. Because remember 16? 16's yeah, you can jump in the game, but it's so useless. You wonder why it's even there.
Mhm. Yeah, but I know, but it's like it's one of those things. Yeah, I'm in agreement with you in a sense that I don't know if the jump really makes a huge difference in 16, but I don't know. It kind of helps though. I will. It to me, I jumped
Mhm.
a lot in 16. I don't. I
Yeah,
just going over the terrain. It would have been a little bit. What's the terrain in 16 is not as rugged either. Like
that's
in the
true.
grass. See, I haven't really fully explored Junon yet, but I know
Mhm.
Junon's got a bunch of shit laying around too.
It's more of the same, yeah.
So a jump button, I think would be nice, but yeah, at the same, I think it comes down to just to controls as well. I
Yeah.
love the controls, and we'll get into more of that in a minute. But I did have an issue not being able to jump just a little bit. The
Mhm.
second thing is, and I don't know if you're in agreement with this or not. What kind of monitor are you? Are you playing on a monitor or a TV? What are you playing
And
on?
I'm
Like,
playing on a TV. I'm
what's
playing on
the
a big ass 15-inch.
what's the resolution? Is it 1080p? Is or what is it? 4K? What
No,
is
no,
it?
no. It's 4K. It's 4K.
Okay, well the issue I'm
Yeah, I just
having
got a new
is
TV. I'm pretty proud of it.
I know. Jan's pretty proud of it. But my problem. So I play on a 4K TV. I play on a 65-inch 4K TV. Now it's kind of
Oh,
old.
damn.
It is a little
Okay.
older. It's like probably 4 years because I think I got it right before I moved into
Oh,
the
well,
house before this
that's
one.
not that old.
I feel like while the game is beautiful, I feel like sometimes it looks a bit washed out. Just a little bit. You know, it seems like the skin complexions are a bit off. I feel like Cloud's hair looks a little fuzzy to me. Now I'm playing on performance mode. I did go to quality mode
Mhm.
for like 20 minutes. One, it didn't look that much better to me. Two, it plays like absolute ass cheeks. So I just got off of that and went back to performance because I was like, I'd rather just deal with the visuals looking a little washed out than playing. And I feel like every time I swing my sword, it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, you know
it's
what I
like,
mean?
yeah,
So
yeah. Is it bad? Like, how many frames we talking?
15 or
Do they
20,
like flex? Oh,
15 or
damn.
20 for sure, man. It looks, I mean, it seems slow to me. And 30 FPS is so hard for me to play anyway because it makes me makes me sick. Like I
I
can't.
mean, it's hard to come back to now. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, I don't, did you ever see anything like that? I mean, the game is beautiful. The
Uh,
game is beautiful, but there's just moments where it looks a bit washed out. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. No, I mean, uh, maybe. What I certainly did notice are certain textures don't load in
Oh,
properly.
dude. I saw that
Yeah.
all up in the mine section with Barrett when you're playing as Barrett in Red 13. There was parts where I was walking up to crystals and they were like fuzzy and like really like smooth. And I got really close to them and then it like completely like
Did
projected. Like,
you got the
yeah,
pop
yeah,
up?
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what the hell is that? Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes during certain cutscenes, not the actual cutscenes, but the ones where characters are just standing around,
Yeah.
just speaking dialogue. Sometimes like the ground they're standing on, or like a rock next to them, has like a very low poly, is like a 24p picture.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, it still looks pretty good though. Like I've seen some people say it
Oh
looks
yeah,
like
these are
like a
nitpicks. Yeah,
PS2 or PS3 game. Like, come
right.
on, man, it looks better than
Which
that.
what I love that became an insult. I love that PS3 like these people don't even know what a PS3 game looks like, and they're like, oh,
Yeah, dude.
what do you mean? Because I mean, PS3 has some good lookers. He's got like
Yeah,
think of Uncharted
for
too.
sure, man. And
And
that's what I'm
he,
saying. Like, dude, I mean, like, I don't know what that's a whole other conversation for itself. But I don't know what the standard is here because, like, for me, these are nitpicks, right? Like, I
hmm
think the game looks fantastic. I just wish it was cleaned up just a little, maybe a bit more crisp. Just have a
hmm
bit more vividness to the color. Kind of make it a little bit more vivid. Have the colors pop a bit, just a bit more. But other than that, visually, it looks fantastic. Have you seen those water physics? Looks awesome, man.
I did not
It,
concentrate on those.
dude,
Yeah.
it looks awesome. Yeah, dude, I took so many screenshots of like Cloud
The
looking over a
swamp.
cliffside, and you're seeing, yeah, yeah, dude.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the water physics looks awesome, and it's a really pretty game. Anyway, so those are my
hmm
nitpicks.
hmm
As far as things that I don't like, I'm right there with you. I think Chadley as a character, I don't think he's bad or anything. I mean, we don't really know much about this dude other than the fact that he's got the VR headset. He
He's like a
tries to be,
cyborg made from Hojo. Like it's a pretty wacky story too.
yeah, yeah. It pretty much it gives you jobs to go get intel in the world. It's fun. It's okay. I'm not. His dialogue is a bit annoying to me, and his little assistant, whatever she is, she will not shut up while I'm trying to fight. I can't understand a thing they're saying. Like, I play with the headset a lot of times, but like last night, for instance, I was playing with that one, and I have it set up to where the voice comes out the controller while I'm playing,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I just could not hear shit because the TV was so loud and so much shit was going on. Right up there with you. just to get into some more positives, because I've kind of nitpicked and shitted on a little bit. I've told you before, I love the combat in the remake, and it's same with Rebirth. I'm not tired of it. I'm 11.5 hours in. I'm excited for my next battle, dude. I never realized how much I missed status effects. You know, if I cast fire on an enemy who is weak to fire, they take more damage or take more damage over time.
You mean like elemental affinity?
Yeah. Any kind of elemental
Mhm.
effects, like
Mhm.
it's so good to have that back. It feels so much. I mean, this is an
Did we not
RPG,
have
obviously.
that in 16?
No, they didn't at all, man. You could
Damn.
cast fire on a fire enemy, and it would do the same amount of damage. Like, it wouldn't.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which really sucked, because even though that game was going for more of a, action game, not really even an
Mhm.
RPG. I don't even know why it's even in the. I guess because it's Final Fantasy, they still put it in that category. But it's a straight up action game. But it still sucks because all of Clive's icon abilities, they're still part of the elements. So you could still. That could just be cool, kind of being able to
Yeah.
change from icon ability, adjusting to different enemies. So with
You know what?
this, I love this.
Mhm.
So, go ahead.
You know what, dude? I think it's more like it's like in Kingdom Hearts, right? That game doesn't really do elemental affinities either, but
It doesn't.
rather
It doesn't.
not really. I mean, kinda. There are
It's
certain enemies that,
yeah.
but like in general, like fire does the same damage to every enemy, right? Uh, what that game does, and 16, from what I remember, is that every element has a different gimmick, right? So I don't remember. I haven't played 16 in a while, but I remember that wind was about dispersing enemies, having them freaking ricochet all over the screen. Fire was about something else. I don't remember, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were going more for that,
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of like
That's
Kingdom Hearts, right?
yeah.
Kind of like
It's more for
fire. Yeah.
spectacle. Yeah. I get what you're
Hmm.
saying. I get what you're saying. Yeah. There's not as much status effects. It's more of just the spectacle of it, because that finisher ability for the Phoenix. I think it's the Phoenix icon. It's like where you could send out all these like flaming bullets at your enemies and have them flying up
Oh,
in the
and
air and stuff.
yeah, that was nice.
Yeah. But anyway, go back to 7,
Hmm.
Rebirth. Yeah, the combat is awesome, dude. This is the best for me. Best of both worlds when it comes to having that action RPG and then just having your old ATB stuff as well. I enjoy that. It's so much more. I mean, dude, I've gotten my ass kicked a lot in this game. More than I
But I
would like
like
to.
that.
Yeah, I like it too. And here's the thing, I was having a really hard time with the combat at first. I was, because I was so
Hmm.
used to playing 16, where it's so
Hmm.
like action heavy, balls to the wall. Not to say that you're just spamming, whatever in
No,
16.
no,
I'm
no.
not saying 16 doesn't have any strategy, but let's be honest, it's not a lot. Really, it's just dodge, make sure you don't get hit, and then you go in and you attack. With 7 Rebirth, it's a bit more to it. You assess, you see what your enemies are resistant to or not resistant to. You will capitalize on that, and then you go in for the kill. And for me, that never got boring to me. I enjoy using everybody. I would say probably I think Aerith is probably my least favorite right now. I,
Hmm.
I think so. Just far as combat, yeah, of course, anything because she's a mage, right? I
Right.
do like that side, but uh, my mains right now is um, Cloud,
Obviously.
Barrett, and Red 13. Obviously,
Oh,
yeah,
you
Cloud,
like
obviously.
Barrett?
Yeah, I love Barrett, because Barrett,
Oh, nice.
even though he doesn't have a lot of power, there's not a lot of power in his attacks. I can switch to him, have him shooting from a distance, and then have Cloud and
Hmm.
Red 13 coming at an enemy from both sides. And that's, to me, that's a killer ass team right there. Because if I got
Yeah.
Barrett over here using focus shot from a distance, and then you have Red 13 and Cloud's using the braver attack, and then Red 13's using his I'm trying to think what's his name. What's the arcane
Like
strike
a
or something like that? I don't remember. But anyway,
like a ray or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
if I have them doing that while Barrett's doing like shooting from a distance, oh dude, it's like I can walk the floor with a bunch of enemies like that. And it's so satisfying, and I have not gotten tired of that. Tifa is obviously fun to use. She's very fast, a
Hmm.
lot of strength. Aerith, to me, I liked her movement, and I love, again, she's the same thing as Barrett, being able to stay at a distance, tossing magic to enemies. I like that as well. But I just think I like Barrett. I think Barrett, because he's got the Gatling gun on his wrist, where
Hmm.
he can have like several rounds go off at one time, as opposed to Aerith is a little bit slower. She's just like kind of like just casting spells, like in Harry Potter,
Right.
just moving a wand just like that. But combat's great. I'm having a really good time with it. I haven't had too many issues with it. The Titan summon was kicking my ass. I mean,
Did you
bad.
beat it?
Yeah, I beat him. Yeah, I beat him yesterday. Yeah, yesterday.
Did you
Yep.
weaken it? Because you know you can weaken it, right?
Yeah. You can go
Yeah.
around and collect the what is it? There's crystals, right?
The little
Isn't there crystal?
monoliths or
Oh
something.
yeah,
Yeah,
something
you're
like that.
fine.
I didn't weaken it to its lowest tier. I got the first two, and then I was like, oh well, I can probably beat him like this, and it still took me like 2 tries.
Damn.
So yeah, he was tough, man. Have you beaten him yet?
Yeah, but I kind of pushed it out and waited until he was at his weakest.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, but I did get my ass kicked by some like side quest bosses. I don't know if you completed all of them. There's the one that makes you fight like a sort of dragon. It's called Quetzalcoatl. I don't know. It's a really long name. And that meant, and I did no damage to him, and he would like kick my ass. He would like wipe the floor with me in like 2 strikes. So I kind of waited until I was a bit more leveled to fight him.
Yeah,
but it's I'm glad I'm fighting challenge, right? Because not many modern games do that. That actually make you learn the actual, like, it's almost as if I have to learn how to play the game in order to beat it. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's like you say, it just makes it way more fun. Like I love having, of course I like feeling like a badass. I like to go around and just straight up just maul everything, but I like that a lot of these, and like I said, a lot of the times now I've been doing a lot better with some of the enemies I've been fighting here lately. But at the beginning, it was taking me the reason why I bring up 16. I'm going back to my point. It took me a while to get into 7 Rebirth's combat, and because to get that remake combat back, because it's way more strategic. It just is. Like I can't, like, even though Cloud is obviously the most powerful person on your team, obviously I can't just go in there and just think my berserker sword is just gonna just straight up just murk everything. Like, you just can't. Yes, some enemies you can do that, but then there's others that like take way more damage. You have to soften them up a bit before you come in for that final blow, and it just makes it more fun, man. I will say this, man, I love the character movement, like how they dodge. Like Cloud's dodge is not like how it was in the remake, where he does an actual dodge roll. He does more like I don't even know what the hell it is. Have you noticed that? Like
half
roll.
a somersault. Yeah, he put his hand in a way. Yeah, it's very cool.
It's quick, man. It's really awesome, And all of them feel very fast, maybe with the exception of Barrett. Barrett is still a little on the slower side. But that makes sense for him being a tank, character.
Armed,
yeah. But other than that, though, man, I love the combat. I think it's great. Like you said, the story, I think we're still not quite there. So I try to refrain from that. But so far that I've seen, I've enjoyed it. I've seen the Nibelheim section before. I've seen that in Crisis Core. I've seen this stuff before. But I thought it was really well done. Really, really, really well done. And I love the presentation. Sephiroth is more intimidating than ever, in my opinion. Something about the music, Sephiroth, like you hear that music playing, and it's like it's so like daunting. It's so like intimidating hearing that scene where like there's flames everywhere, and Cloud calls out to Sephiroth, and Sephiroth turns around and you see those flames up behind him. He just looks like a freaking menace. It was like, dude, this shit is so. This is awesome.
Yeah,
when I saw that, I was like, this is awesome.
What's so great about him? Like, the more you learn about him, the more you realize, how much of a threat he is.
Yeah. I'm curious to see, like, again, we're getting into story stuff, so we're not really going to know until we get farther into it. But I'm curious to see what they do with Sephiroth. Is Sephiroth going to stay the main big bad for this game and the what is it, revival? Is that the third one? Whenever they make that one,
they didn't title it. Yeah,
I thought it was a revival. Maybe I thought I heard them say that, but maybe not.
Maybe I'm not. I don't know.
But I am interested to see if they're going to stay with that or with the whispers or whatever. What are they going to do?
Well, the whispers are dead, but I hope that he's not the final boss. Because one problem I had with remake is that Sephiroth was the final boss, and he's not. I mean, the boss was great. Don't get me wrong.
The environments during that boss fight too.
Fantastic. I loved it. Like the rendition of the song "One Winged Angel" during that fight.
Yeah,
man, I sometimes listen to that, while I'm walking my dog, and I just start running. because you just fussed me up so much. It's
yeah.
uh and what was it? What was I
You
saying?
said one of
Right,
your gripes with the remake was fighting Sephiroth.
right. Yeah, actually, because now I feel like when we're actually gonna fight him, like when he's gonna be the actual final boss in the third game, he's not gonna be as impactful, right? Because unless they manage to outdo the boss fight in remake. But now, like, imagine if you fight him in remake, then you fight him again in Rebirth, and then you fight him again in the third game. I think it's gonna get a little bit stale. Like, no matter
I
how
agree.
great you do it. So I hope he's not the final boss this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking, since you asked, I'm sprinkling more of that OG veteran FF7 knowledge.
Please go
Mm,
ahead.
So you have a cutscene here. You fight that huge snake because so for context, you need to find chocobos so you can cross the swamp.
That's right.
So you avoid the huge serpent. It's called Midgar Somar or something like that.
Yeah, that's it.
And but then you have to fight the big snake anyways. And at the end of the fight, you are not actually the one who kills it, but like Sephiroth appears. Like it's not like Closed Mind is pretty fucked up at this point, so we're not sure if that was actually Sephiroth. But we see him, right? And he pretty much finishes the snake off, like with one blow, he impales it to a stake that's nearby.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens in the original game is that first off, it's not really a swamp; it's more like some sort of quicksand, from what I remember. And yeah, you do need the chocobo to get through it. I mean, because the snake you can't fight it. I mean, you can, but at the level you're at, you're gonna get your ass whooped. You cannot beat it. So you're pretty much forced to get the chocobo so you can cross it because the chocobo is fast enough. And so you don't even have to fight it, right? So otherwise, you just avoid it. And because it's such a daunting enemy that you have no choice but to chicken out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And once you cross that quicksand, I'm pretty sure it's quicksand. Once you cross it, you find this another one. Not the snake was chasing you, another one impaled to a stake, a huge stake, just as we find in the remake, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people are and the group comments something like, "Oh shit, Sephiroth passed through here," and that's a lot of people quote that moment, which is like, it kind of reminds you of how much of a monster Sephiroth is, right? You had to run away, get a chocobo and run away from this monster. Well, Sephiroth, he just freaking, destroyed it, right?
Right.
Well, here they kind of, I mean, it's the same effect, right? Because it's a pretty hard boss fight. I don't know about you, but I struggled a bit. I was about to die, pretty much about to die before killing it.
Mm-hmm.
But see what they're doing here. It's more like Sephiroth in that one was always one step ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here Sephiroth is kind of always, with you in a
Mm-hmm.
sense. It's almost it keeps tormenting Cloud all the way. It was true in the remake too. It's like and I'm not sure what's going on here. It almost looked like in that one cutscene because Cloud was drowning before Sephiroth kills it. It almost looked like Sephiroth wants Cloud to survive.
Yeah.
Because remember, at the end before you fight him, in remake, he says a lot of cryptic stuff. He says stuff like, 7 seconds until the end, but there might be enough time for you. It's like, what's beyond still doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But I don't want you to stop existing. He says a lot of cryptic shit,
Yeah.
and I hope we shed some light on that. And I think what I'm reading, what I'm hearing here is that Sephiroth wants Cloud to survive for some reason. He finds him very important, which is very different from the original. The original Sephiroth pretty much until the very end, he doesn't even consider Cloud, right? He's like, just another mere mortal on his path, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a very different dynamic, and I'm wondering where they're going with this. I hope
Yeah.
they're going somewhere with this.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I just hope they don't shit the bed. I mean, it seems like to me they're going with a very and here's the thing, and just to get on that subject, and again, maybe you can shed a bit more light on it as well, because I know you're a bit more in depth with the original than me, but like when people are getting upset, you got
Mhm.
really die hard, and obviously, we talk about this before. Gamers in general are just very toxic, but there's
Mhm.
people that love Seven. I mean, obviously, it's beloved all around the world. It's one of the greatest games of all time, regarded by most. And so, like, when they are remaking these games, because this remake has kind of been in the works for a while. Like, it's like
Yeah.
I was reading up on this at work. I was like bored as hell, and this goes back as far as like the end of the PS2 era that they were trying to bring this
Damn.
game to modern consoles, but it could never get off the ground because they knew that this game was so huge that they were going to have to take multiple, and I mean like almost like a decade or two just to get the damn thing out. And there was people that were hard to commit to this. So really my question for you is like when it comes to remaking Final Fantasy VII, like do you think when you remake something, are you trying to do like tit for tat what happened in the original, or are you trying to not only maybe tell these important moments in the story, but like do you have a problem with them like kind of like doing more of a reimagine, or really I've heard people say a sequel to the
Yeah.
original, which I think is wild if they because like again, I'd have to go back and really study the original, but if this is more of a sequel to the original, that's even more sick in my opinion. But like, do you see the critical response is what I'm saying? Like people diehard
Yeah.
fans of it. They're like, well, what are these whispers? What the hell is that? Like this didn't happen and Zach is still alive. Like, I just wanted a verbatim remake. Like, what do you say to those people? Like, besides get over it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I stand somewhere in the middle because honestly, I really don't like when a remake just is a shot for shot recreation of the original, but like with more modern graphics or whatever. Because at that point, why even bother,
Resident Evil 4.
right? That's
Resident Evil
different. You
4 is a different
cannot
example.
say that. Yeah, you cannot say Resident Evil did something different. That's what I'm saying is that I don't like when a remake sets out the task to completely eclipse the original, right? That's kind of like sure, Demon Souls, right? Launch title on the PS5. But pretty much it's what it does. It's the same exact game, but like they remade a bunch of stuff. And according to many, including me, they kind of messed up. They screwed the pooch on a few stuff. They screwed the pooch on the music. They screwed the pooch on a lot of the designs. But now what's going to end up happening that since the original is stuck on the PS3 and this one is available on modern hardware, everybody's going to play the remake, right? Because they're going to be like, oh, it's pretty much the same thing. And I hate when that happens. I despise it, right? This isn't like The Last of Us Part 1 where it's actually the same exact game. This is like the same but not really, right? And when I hear people complaining about the Ring Final Fantasy VII, I feel like that if they got what they think they want, that's what would have happened, right? They got something that tries very hard to recreate the original, but obviously fails because it's not the same thing. Because a certain, I mean, we are kind of branching out here, but like when you create something, right? It's kind of a lightning in a bottle moment. You cannot recreate it perfectly unless if you're working in a different time on like with different people targeting different sensibilities. You cannot remake the same thing. If you want more the same thing, just play them original. Like I don't understand what people want, right? Resident Evil 4, fantastic example. You can play, if you wish, so you can play the original. It's available in every modern hardware. It's available in freaking anything. It's even available on your freaking phone. You can play it anywhere. Or you can play this very modern reimagining, right? Which is, kind of has the same plot base, but it changed a lot of stuff, both gameplay-wise and story-wise. Those are kind of remakes I like. Now, FF7 remake, it's a different kind of beast entirely, right? What it's doing is doing something very. I like what it's doing. It's doing something very different. It's challenging this this idea that the remake has to be completely the same. So as you're saying, it's a sequel in a sense. What it is, it's like a parallel. It's as if Final Fantasy we get in a parallel dimension, right? It's a different Final Fantasy VII. I think it's very exciting.
The multiverse.
Pretty much, exactly. This is a Final Fantasy VII that fucking alternate Dylan and Jan played, would have played. Get it? And I never really like that. But I get why people might be. The only reason why I get why people might be a little taken aback by it is that they weren't too honest with it. They never now they are, but like when remake came out, it came a bit of a shock, right? Because they weren't really. They didn't really address that. They're really saying, well, this is not really a remake. They even put remake in the title. How many remakes do you know that have remake in the title? I know of only one, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Right.
So
Yeah, I
it's
get what you're
almost,
saying.
yeah, it's almost as if it's kind of making fun, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Which,
It, it
so I
makes you
understand why
think.
they're mad. Yeah,
It makes
but
you think they. It makes you think they should have just maybe because I know what they're trying to do. Like each game's, they're remake, rebirth, and I'm almost positive they said revival for the third one. But so I know they're
Mhm.
trying to stay with that same kind of tagline, I guess.
Mhm.
But I think it would have been just official, just putting Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII-2, Final Fantasy VII-3, and that would have been
Or
fun, I
even,
think. But whatever.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying, dude. I think they did it on purpose. I think they wanted a little mislead. I think I don't know. I think that, like, in Nomura's little mind, this is a genius. This is a
Right.
genius thing to do.
Well, he did a damn good
Uh,
job, right? Because I mean,
he did,
look
yeah,
at the
that's true.
opening. Look at the opening of remake when you
Oh
have
man.
that beautiful music playing, and you see the little flower falling to the ground. You see Aerith, and then it pans out. You see the big shot of Midgar, and then you see flashes of Cloud on top of the train. Avalanche comes out the train, and then Cloud jumps off of it, grabs the Buster Sword, and it's like holy shit, this is like
Yeah.
shot for shot. And then as the story goes on, you see it starts to kind of dip here,
Mhm.
dip there. But yeah, I mean, like, and maybe this has come from somebody who I don't want to say I don't have an attachment because I do love these characters. Like Cloud's been a big part of like a lot of games, like all like
Oh yeah.
I mean, Kingdom Hearts, even Cloud's in that, which is kind of weird because Cloud doesn't really, especially in the first one, man, they kind of had him looking more like Vincent Valentine in the
That's
first
yeah.
Kingdom Hearts. Like,
Did you know Vincent Valentine was supposed to take Cloud's place?
oh, was he? Okay. Well, I mean, it
Yeah, he
makes
was.
sense. It kind of has the
So
outfit.
yeah.
Why do they do that? Why didn't you just go with Vincent
Uh,
if you don't do that?
I don't remember, but if I
Maybe it's
had to
because he
guess,
has,
it would
maybe because he
work.
has guns. Maybe it's because he had guns and stuff. Maybe there's a,
Maybe, but or maybe just because Cloud is more popular. Yeah,
yeah.
it could be that.
Well, that's the thing. They have him looking like that in the first one. Then when you get to Kingdom Hearts 2, he kind of has this Advent children
It did,
outfit,
yeah, yeah, yeah. As well
which
as
I
Tifa.
think
Yeah.
all of them do. Yeah, because Tifa's not as you know.
I was talking about her outfit, but sure, whatever.
well, that's I was too, but you could tell that she's not as Which, by the way, there's a scene in Rebirth, and I laughed when I saw it because I thought about
When she
you,
shows the scar.
dude. Yeah, when she was like, "Look," and I was like, "What is about to happen here?" Like that's how I was like, and Cloud's just like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, he had like the weirdest boner right there. Because like at one point, this is a very like serious moment, right? Because by the
Yeah,
way, I love that scene. I'm glad you brought it up.
yeah, yeah,
Because that wasn't there in the original.
yeah.
Because like okay, in the original, Tifa obviously when Cloud retells the story, she's like, okay, this guy's full of shit, right? What are you talking? You weren't there. I mean, he was there. He's one of the
Mhm.
little infantry soldiers. Which, by the
Yeah.
way,
You went
uh,
into my room, you asshole! Like I love
that
that
was
part.
great. I loved it. And did you look into her
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
closet? Yeah, yeah. You can choose yes and no. And she's like, I couldn't resist.
I was just being honest with her, I mean, like,
Yeah, I know.
But obviously,
I
yeah, I get what you're
think
saying.
I think that in the original you can even like something about her panties. I'm not sure.
Oh,
Don't
really?
quote me on that. Yeah, don't quote. Yeah, it's much more perverted in the
That
original.
makes sense. At
Yeah,
90s, that's
very Japanese. Yeah.
yeah, the Japanese. Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. But yeah,
uh,
when that scene came up, I was like, because like I seen where it was kind of going when she turned to him, and
mhm.
then she was just like, she kind of stood there, and then she was like that, and I was like, whoa, like this game is starting off kind of, I mean, like you just try, like you already had a good
I'm
build,
trying.
like you don't have to keep me in the game, but I'm not gonna disagree with it.
I'm trying. Yeah, just to wait for people to make the. As soon as it comes to PC, people are gonna make the
Oh my
first person
god,
mod.
dude,
First person mod. But
for
anyhow,
sure.
no, I want to talk. I want to talk about that moment because I was saying in the original, Tifa does not address the fact that she she does not remember the scene the same way Cloud does, right? She keeps it off until way later. Well, here she says it right off. Like she talks to Ares, she's like, something something's been bugging me. Cloud is kind of throwing some BS over here. That
Yeah.
that didn't happen, right?
Hmm.
And the little confrontation, I really like that. Honestly, like outside of the whole unknown journey talk, that's the kind of stuff. It's kind of Resident Evil 4 in the way like This kind of is that kind of the kind of thing that I would have liked in a remake, right? Kind of address these very wonky parts of the plot, right?
Hmm.
I mean, I guess Tifa in a way she does react to it. She becomes kind of shy. She's like she does the dot 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 kind of responses, like she's like keeping something. But I think this makes much more sense, right? Like they're supposed to be these childhood friends, right? She's to be she's supposed to be so happy to be reunited with him, and now, right? She's like questioning everything.
Yeah.
She's there's even a part where like she goes because Cloud starts to question her. Like it's crazy. It's not Tifa that's like Cloud, you're crazy. Cloud goes, Tifa, you're kind of right. You're crazy. You're
Hmm.
and then that's and she's very hurt by that.
Hmm.
And she goes to her room and she says, maybe we weren't as close as I thought. Like we weren't that close when we were little.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, that
Yeah.
was I love that. See,
Yeah.
that's the kind of thing that I like about remakes. That's the kind of shit I want. I don't want a beat for beat retelling. I mean, who gives a shit about that, right?
Yeah. Right.
But I really like that.
Yeah. I mean, like
Uh,
again, like why would you? I mean, why would you want that? Like, that's why I was
mhm,
giving that question to you. Like for me, like if you took a game that you love growing up and you want it to be modernized for these consoles and things like that, I mean, would you want it exactly like the original? I think in some ways you want to keep what keeps it, like
mhm,
what keeps it Final Fantasy VII. Like the dynamic between, like even me who's not as familiar with the original as people have been playing the game since they were in the 90s, right? I was a little bit, obviously you didn't play it till like a couple years ago. I've only dabbled in it. I mean, I was born in 96. The game came out, what,
mhm.
97, 94,
97,
95.
yeah,
Dude, I mean,
97.
I was a year old. Like, I mean,
Mhm,
by the time I was able to play games, I was playing like Crash
mhm,
Bandicoot, Spyro, things like that. I didn't touch Final Fantasy. So, but I think what keeps Final Fantasy VII, I mean, look at the dynamic between the characters. I mean, even I can
mhm,
see that as going back and seeing some of these conversations from the original and seeing it here. Like, I think what makes Final Fantasy VII, you got to get the atmosphere right. One thing I love about the remake was the industrialized city of
mhm.
Midgard. I love that. I thought that was great. It felt very true the the story. Like, if you even want to go and like throw in Advent Children in there, like they get the industrialization part of Midgard right. I love that. I love that. You know,
Yeah, that's
and
great.
s- and I think that's what makes the remake really great. And then when you get into Rebirth, like, and I know again, just going off chronologically how the story plays out in the original, just like hearing these characters again, like one of my main issues, and don't worry, I'm getting a little bit of those vibes from Rebirth as well. But one of my main issues with 16, and me and Jan have talked about it several times, was like in 16, I felt like when you had a companion, you couldn't control them, but you didn't even know they were there like half the time. Like you just saw them casting spells and you're like, oh shit, Josh was behind me. Oh shit, Jill's behind me. And that was it. Or Torgal's over here fighting this person, but you can't really do anything with them. Here, you kind of get that a little bit. Like I will say, there is a bit more. If I have to nitpick again,
Mhm,
and I mean this again, this is very minute. I feel like I wish the characters did kind of exchange dialogue a bit more when I'm
mhm.
just running around because I felt like and maybe you might have to jog your memory a little bit. In Final Fantasy 15, did the friends Noctis and
All
Igni, did they
all the
talk?
time,
I would have
all the
liked it a
time.
little bit more. Like if it just
Mhm,
if even if it's like Aerith and Tifa just talking about girl shit, like while we're just like
mhm.
running around, wouldn't have mind that. I would have
Yeah,
liked
no,
that
no,
a
I
little bit
agree.
more. Does it seem like that to you? Does it seem a bit because that might be one thing I can maybe say as a negative is I feel like sometimes besides like cutscenes, I do
Mhm.
feel like it's a little bit of dead silence sometimes when we're just traveling the open world. And there's enough
Yeah.
going on that I don't feel like it's completely like bad, but I just feel like it sometimes just feels a bit shallow. Does that make sense?
No, I haven't thought about it, but yeah, you're right. It would have been nice. I remember in Final Fantasy VII Remake, they were very chatty.
Yeah, I felt so too. I
Yeah.
felt so too. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Uh,
Like, I actually
mhm,
do remember that. I felt that's one of the things I loved about it was, I mean, especially when you go from remake to Final Fantasy
mhm,
16, it's like, damn, these NPCs in the remake feel like they actually know each other. In
mhm,
16, golly, Joshua is Clive's brother. Dude barely talks,
mhm,
and then Jill. I mean, Jill is trying to bang Clive every second she
mhm.
gets, but yet I don't hear any. I don't hear anything. Like, what's
Yeah,
the
I know.
deal? I'm
I mean, the
joking, but you know what I
problem.
mean.
No, no, no. I think that 16 had a problem. Like, beside the integration with the gameplay, I think the characters in that game had a problem, like a fundamental problem. Like, like the dynamic between the character was just not there. I mean, 15, I shit on 15 every chance I get, but
Hmm.
one thing that I always praise about that game is how real the friendship between the four main characters feels, right? All the time they act like real people. While you're driving in the Batmobile, the they keep yeah, I saw the joke from a YouTuber. But while they're driving around in the car, they keep bantering, right? They keep commenting about different sides, different monsters they're fighting, and really like that. And kind of kept me closer to the story, even after it was completely mm, ununderstandable. It kind of kept me in just to see how they venture through it.
Hmm.
And in 16 it just wasn't there, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, the characters themselves were pretty shallow. They were barely,
Yeah.
what do you say, barely developed,
Yeah.
and let alone their relationships, right? You gotta
Yeah.
you gotta have a character to be able to develop a relationship with someone.
One thing I
But
really
anyhow,
one thing I really hope that we get as Rebirth goes on, and maybe we have to get to a certain point in the game. I hope there's some scenes where, again, and I bring up 15, but we've talked about this before. How, like, when you'll have camp, you wake up in the morning, and maybe
hmm
Gladio's like, "Hey, me and you should run down to the beach and have a
hmm
race," and it's you and
hmm
him just going by yourselves to do something together, whether that's doing a race or get into a few fights or whatever. I don't know if they're going to do that here in Rebirth, but I think that would be an extra cool dynamic. Is like maybe if you get to a stopping point, like you obviously there's no camp in this game, but it'd be really
hmm
cool if like you got, and maybe this will happen. You get your relationship to a certain point with a party member, and then they'll pull
hmm
you to the side and go, "Hey, can you go with me here?" And you leave the rest of the party, and you and that other person go do whatever. I think that'd be sick, and I hope that's what
I
they
th-
do.
I think that's plausible. Maybe not in the way 15 does it. Like 15 does it in a way it's kind of random, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes, but I think, I mean, if I'm right, what's gonna happen here is that during certain story moments, like maybe during certain moments they're like sleeping at an inn or something. If you met certain requirements by the time you get there, yeah, that's gonna happen, right? Like Air's gonna out and say, "Ah, the flowers are in bloom this time of year. You want to see them with me, Cloud?"
Oh,
Or
I got something so funny. Like that first sequence when you
mhm,
finish the Nibelheim section where Klaus retelling the story of how he remembers it,
mhm,
and after you have the whole conversation with Tifa on the roof, when you go out to the streets of Calm, Aerith,
uh-huh,
you go up to Aerith, and Aerith is like, "Will you meet me at the clock tower for a date?"
all
You
right.
have you have answer choices, and these answer choices are absolute dog shit because I didn't know which one to pick because two of them sounded super shitty, and there's only one right answer. Why? So one answer is yes, I'll meet you at the clock tower.
Uh-huh.
The other two was no, just no, and the other one was I guess so, or like or like if I have to. That's what it was.
Right.
The choice was if I have to. Like what? I only had
Yeah.
one choice to make, so I just said okay. And so like
Well,
I go on the date with her, and she's like holding on the Cloud's arm and stuff. And then
mhm.
Tifa sees that shit, and Tifa gets mad. It's like, bruh, I couldn't tell her no. That sounds
No,
shitty, man.
I mean, you gotta. Well, I mean, let me ask you something. Are you like Team Aerith or Team Tifa?
I'm Tifa, bro. I'm not picking Aerith.
Oh, okay, all right.
You're a
Well,
fucking
then
try hard if you pick Aerith.
I just like Aerith more. I just think. I mean, I understand why you would like Tifa, but Aerith is just the one. Aerith.
I got you. I got you.
Anyhow, yeah. Okay, we're
Sure.
not gonna start like a waifu war here,
No, no, of course not.
but I mean, this was in the original too. I mean, I think this affinity meter, if I understand it right, it's not so much as it kind of goes up and down. The affinity for each character goes up and down, right, based on
Mhm.
these questions. And what I imagine is that you kind of have to pick favorites at some point.
Yeah.
So what you should have done, if you didn't want Tifa to get jealous, you should have shut Aerith down. I mean, you can't, like, get it? You can't just play them both, right? You
Yeah.
gotta, if you like
But
Tifa, then why are you going on a date with Aerith?
well,
Why don't you
I
want to
felt
turn her
bad.
down?
I felt bad
Well,
though. Like
imagine that.
this.
Okay, imagine. I'll give you a scenario, right?
Okay, go
So
ahead.
imagine like a coworker or someone, right? She uh she asks you, I don't know, to have lunch with her or whatever, right? And you're like, yeah, sure, cool. And at some point, she started getting very flirty, right? She started, kind of coming on to you. Obviously, what you're gonna do is you're going to say, okay, so I enjoy spending time with you, but dial it back, right? Right?
Right.
Imagine, right? That's what
Yep.
you would do,
Right.
and that's what's happening here. I mean, if you're devoted to Tifa as you are to your wife, then when someone else like Aerith comes along, you go like, well, you know what? This isn't a date.
Yeah, but I'm not committed to anything. I just started the fucking game.
Well, I mean, I'm committed. I mean, if you didn't want, I mean, what do you think was going to happen?
Well, here's the thing: if the other two answers didn't sound so shitty to me, I would have maybe picked the other two. But see, one was said if I have to, the other one just said no.
Why
So
don't you want to say no?
because it just said like if it said no, but thank you anyway, or no, I'm a little.
Well,
I have
you
to
can't
do
be a
something
people
else.
pleaser, Dylan.
Yeah, I guess so. I felt like it was like shitty. I just felt like the dialogue choices were pretty bad.
I get
and
it. It's kind of harsh.
I didn't because Aerith is like, listen, like obviously, yeah. I'm probably picking Tifa. I just am. I'm sorry. I'm basic bitch. I know. Aerith is a sweet person though, and I didn't want to do that because I felt like yes, okay, I get it. Like in a situation like I'm in where I'm married, yes, that's a whole different ball game. But with this, I'm not committed to anybody yet, so it's kind of like, I don't want to be a complete dick. She offers a date, and I'm like, I guess, or I don't want to do that.
Well, but okay, fine.
I just feel like it's being mean.
Yeah, sure.
I just feel like that's mean. That's all I was saying.
Well, I mean, that's kind of how Cloud is, right? I feel like he doesn't let people off like soft. He doesn't go, oh man, I would love to, but I just can't. Like that's just not him.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you're right. I mean, he's a bit more stoic and very short, and so it fits for him. But like me as a person, that just feels really shitty for her to offer. Like she wants to go on a date with me, and I'm like, if I have to or no. So I felt like I had to pick yes. So whatever, it is what it is.
No, you get your chance. Don't you worry.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, I don't want because I'm like you. I don't know how this system works. So it's like I know that maybe there's benefits with each person. Obviously, like as you get closer, there might be new abilities you guys can get in battle, or if there's something. Maybe there's some kind of like accessory, like some kind of band or some kind of something you can get from the other person for how you treat them. And so I kind of want to be nice to everybody, but I mean. Tifa's probably the main, sure.
We'll see. In the original, if you play your cards right, you can go on a date with Barrett.
Really?
Yeah.
How does that work?
So it's at the Gold Saucer, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's at some point like the character that you have the highest affinity with is gonna ask you out on a date, and you gotta play your cards very right. You pretty much gotta be an asshole to both Tifa and Aerith and Yuffie. You gotta be an asshole to everyone but Barrett, because Barrett kind of hates Cloud's guts. So you really have to, like, you gotta do it on purpose. You're never gonna do it on a first run.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta know what you're doing. And yeah, he just I mean, it's not romantic, right? It's not homoerotic, but it's they exchange like a tender moment, right? Like a bromance kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
They go to the Ferris wheel and they it's
That's funny. Well, I was gonna say like in the remake, there's a good moment where it's kind of like a I don't know if like a bromance, but it's a good sentimental moment depending on how it's kind of like the same system where like I think in my first playthrough when you're at Aerith's house.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yes, it was a good. I had a connection, like a special moment with Barrett, where it's like just trying to understand each other because you got both of these guys who are very alpha guys here, and they kind of come to a common ground. And I think that was my first playthrough. My second playthrough, I want to say it was.
You got Barrett. Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. What did I do something wrong?
No, you didn't wrong. It's just it's very unlikely. It's
how did it work in the remake as far as like how you
I think it's the same, in the remake sometimes you get choices, right? I think that's it. It's the same thing. It's more hidden, right? It doesn't say it right away. Oh yeah, you're closer now with this person.
I wonder what choices I made to get Barrett because I'm trying to think back. I don't know what I did because I got there at the first playthrough on PS4. On my PS5 playthrough, I want to say I got Aerith on the PS5 version.
Honestly, I think Aerith, like besides how much I like that character, I think that's kind of like the nicest cutscene out of all of them, out of all the variants. Because like there's this one moment where Aerith actually goes out and goes, "Okay, Cloud, like no matter what, we can't fall in love." That was a really like, oh shit moment, right?
How does
And
Cloud react to that?
he's like, "Don't I get a say in this?"
Does he really say that?
Yeah, he says like, "Okay, so like that's it. You're the one who gets to choose." I mean, okay, so I'm gonna address something. I'm gonna be a little bit of a nerd. I'm gonna be a little bit of a geek. So the English translation of remake, and I'm guessing Rebirth too, kind of. I'm not gonna say that it's mistranslated or that it changes stuff, but a lot of like nuanced like the dialogues kind of do get changed a bit. If you, I remember because if you flip the language of the if you understand like any other language, like Spanish, French, German, Italian, which one of the other ones, I noticed that the four other ones, right? All these four other ones kind of have the same translation when it comes to most cutscenes, but the English one is very different. It's kind of Hollywoodized, and not specifically in a bad sense. Just imagine every time that Cloud says something like "bring it, bitch," something like that. Usually, that's not it in the original. It says something much more tame. And that cutscene had it's very different. I remember in English she says, "No matter what, we can't fall in love. Even if you think you have, it's not real." While in the other translation she says, "You can fall in love with me. It wouldn't lead to anything." Which it's the same but not really, right? So so Cloud goes, "Okay, so that's it's bullshit, right? Why do you get to choose?" And well, you alone get to choose. And remember, Aerith by this point is kidnapped. She's not supposed to be there. He even asks, "How are you even here? Is this a dream?" And she goes, "You tell me." Which, by the way, just made me fall in love with. If I weren't in love with Aerith before, it was during this one. I love this very Mr. Girl thing. I know it's bad, but and then Cloud at the end goes like, no matter, despite everything that Aerith says, Cloud goes, "I am going to save you," and she replies with, "It is what you want, thank you." And then she just disappears. I think it's a very tender scene. Like, I'm sure that Barrett's and Tifa's cutscenes are very nice, but Aerith kind of seems almost canonic, right?
Yeah.
It's a Cloud's determination to go and save her, right? Like this person who's very difficult to approach, and he's very distant. He doesn't like new connections. He somehow, for some reason, he feels this urge to go save this girl he barely met.
Yeah.
So I really like that.
Yeah.
I hope there are more scenes like that in Rebirth.
I think there'll be some good ones. Off the subject, I was thinking, well, it's still on Final Fantasy, but you mentioned something about so you're playing the game in Japanese right now?
Yeah, that's right.
I was going to ask you because you were talking about how, and I understood what you were saying as far as sometimes the English versions of these lines are a bit more, I don't know if mainstream is the right word. Hollywood, the way that you said.
I like Hollywoodized. Get it? It's more.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Right. Well, I was going to say, do they say? So I heard the word "shit" a lot in my playthrough so far in Rebirth. Do they say the word "shit" a lot while you're playing?
Well, okay. So I'm not. I obviously don't speak Japanese, right? I mean, I am like a huge weeb who has been watching anime and stuff like that for more than a decade. So I'm gonna answer you with this. I think that like when it comes to Japanese, there's they do short answer. They do a cuss. They do. But I think that like in Japanese, like it's a very how do you say it? I think it's easy to sound very rude, right? I think that like it takes very little to address someone rudely, right?
Mhm.
Like because they're very I'm not gonna say classes, but they have this thing with honorifics, right? You gotta speak people with a certain with certain suffixes. You gotta speak people with a certain kind of language, right? So I think that, like, all it takes really is to not do that, not be that considerate, to sound very rude and also sound vulgar.
Mhm.
So I think that what a lot of translations, not only English ones in general, they to kind of convey how how how, how streety they sound, how not elegant they sound, right? How
Mhm.
non-polite they sound. They make them cuss a bit, right? They can go shit. They make go hey asshole and stuff like that. Uh, I don't know how much of this is just something that I learned, right? Like consuming a lot of Japanese media.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
but I can't give you a straight answer because
I got you.
I don't speak Japanese. But
No, I
that's how
understand.
that's
I
what I
just didn't
got.
know, like, while you're playing, because obviously,
Mhm.
I
I mean,
like
they say "xol," which I know is kind of like shit. It's
yeah.
usually translated as either fuck or shit. So I'm guessing it's kind of
Right, because that's what I
uh
really was like saying. Like when you're seeing the subtitles. Well, I mean, obviously, when you're
mhm,
in battle and stuff, you're not gonna be paying attention to everything they say. But like I noticed in my playthrough so far, this is rated T for teen, so it's not rated M like Final Fantasy 16. In Final Fantasy 16, they said the F word 1,000
mhm.
times, but this I've noticed, man, they say shit a lot, like a lot, like
You
a
see,
lot
that's
in the
that's curious
English
to me.
voice acting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's curious to me, for another reason because uh, this saying like cussing, right? So vulgar language. Um, it's only really an American thing that gives you an M rating for swears. Or like over here, like we have a different age classification, obviously, but you won't get the highest rating just for saying fuck. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Uh, so
That's
like
weird.
there's a lot of things at play here.
Yeah.
Um,
Right. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, like in movies here, like if
yeah, I know
I,
there's
I
there's
think
weird
in P
rules
like
here.
PG 13, like it'll stay like if you say the F word once, you're
Uh-huh.
good. Like it can stay PG 13, but if you say it twice, it's rated R. Like,
What's it like? What's up with
dude,
that?
I don't know if you say GD, if you say GD like more than once, I'm pretty sure it's rated R as well. Then Jan's his sound might be off a little bit. It's all good. We'll get everything it's supposed to. What? Oh, nope. I can't hear you.
What about now?
Yeah, I can hear you. There you go.
Awesome. Yeah, no, my the battery died.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. So anyway, yeah. So what I was saying was, sorry to the people who were listening to Apple Podcast where we just went quiet for a second. So yeah, so it is kind of weird over here with movies. Games, I feel like can keep that T rating. I mean, but I just noticed they said shit a lot more than I was expecting.
Mhm.
But I will say, like, and again, we're going with nitpicks and gripes here. I think this game could have really done well with a rated M for
What a
mature.
what a good
Like,
F bomb. You mean?
dude, well, yeah, like I really wish it was like rated M though, because that scene in Nibelheim where
Mhm.
Sephiroth is just slicing and dicing everybody, I think it would have
Mhm.
been really cool to actually. I know it's Final Fantasy, so you don't want to go too far into that. But I would have liked to seen a little bit more blood, like just kind of just give it more depravity. It's well effective, like it doesn't really need it, but I think it would have been really cool just to see Sephiroth. You hear that music
Yeah.
playing, and you're seeing him like stabbing dudes on the ground, blood's
Mhm.
flying everywhere. I think that would have been cool, man.
Yeah. I think that in remake, I don't remember when, but it had the same thing because it has lower ratings worldwide. Um, there's like a stab wound. I don't remember where, but there's like a stab wound, and there's not like actual blood. There's like a black mist around the stab wound. That was really funny.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
But
it's like
yeah,
it's like in the Nibelheim when Tifa's running up the stairs to try to
uh-huh.
kill Sephiroth. He like
Right.
he slices her like below her chest,
Uh-huh.
and it's
Uh-huh.
like 3 drops of blood. It's like hardly anything. And when she falls on the ground, it's just like a slash there. There's no like blood or anything like
Yeah, and the Cloud is like surprised that she's even alive.
that. Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, that was very. No, I agree with that. I think that I hate when that happens, when it kind of impedes on the impact of a scene,
Mm-hmm.
or because okay, maybe on the Nibelheim fire, I think you're right. It's effective as it is, but yeah, like Tifa's wound, Tifa's injury is just it doesn't portray. There's like a dissonance between what is being told and what is being shown, right?
Yeah.
So we've been
Yeah.
told that she's like barely alive, right? But all we saw, like from what I saw, honestly, I thought she like barely got like a surface cut, honestly.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, just to mention
but
this.
you know,
Oh,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No,
No, I was just gonna say, no, I don't know why it doesn't have a higher rating, but I think I have it like on good authority here that is because higher rated games, especially highest rated games, I mean whichever the highest rating in each region, have a lot of restrictions when it comes to marketing, when it comes to where they can show commercials, or they can show trailers and stuff like that, where they can promote it. So it could be about that.
It could be, yeah. I mean, and also too, it's Final Fantasy, and I think it's such
Mhm.
a like a what's the word? I'm trying to say secular, but that's not really
What
what
do
I
you mean?
probably not the word I'm looking for. But anyway, so one thing I was gonna bring, I wanted to talk to you about, and then we'll kind of get ready to get things on the downward end here. But just go back to the Nibelheim scene for a second. Just talk about story. So there's a scene where after Tifa gets slashed, Cloud, or seemingly it's Cloud. It's obviously we know who it is, but he pulls Tifa to the side, and she's like almost on the ground, like dying. And apparently, so when you go back to the actual modern day, who is saying it to Cloud? Like, is it Sephiroth? I think it's Sephiroth. When
So it's
Cloud
like,
he's gonna meet Tifa outside when they're in Calm in that little hotel, whatever it is,
mhm.
and time freezes, and Sephiroth, and it's probably in his mind, is standing like below the staircase. You know what I'm talking about? And he says to Cloud
Yeah.
and says like, "That's not
Oh
how you
yeah,
remember it,
yeah,
is
yeah.
it? She died that day, and you know it." Like he's saying stuff like that.
Mhm.
What do you think is going on there? I mean, is there something in the original game that I'm missing, or do you think that's going to come into play later as
The
well?
original game did, as I said, original game did not have that. Did not have Cloud never doubted Tifa. This is like a new element, and I think. I mean, I have to guess that this is also kind of for new players that maybe haven't played the original, so that because we know what's actually happened, right? We know that Tifa is right, but maybe a new player could be on Cloud's side, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
Sephiroth. How I interpret the scene, Sephiroth is like a little devil, and a little devil on your shoulder, it's kind of saying stuff to you, going, "Oh man, can you really trust her?"
Mm-hmm.
Right? Who is that? Right?
Right.
Is that really your friend? I think that's how I read this. Really cool. I really like that, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Which
like it
is
too.
again, it's kind of, it gives me this idea of Sephiroth kind of tormenting Cloud throughout the entire journey.
Yeah, yeah, I liked it a lot, and yeah, that's something I should have thought before I asked you that, because now that I think about it, yeah, I mean time, you know how it is, like Cloud, he clutches his head, the time kind of stops for a second, and then you see Sephiroth. That was all in his head. I don't know if that's actually Sephiroth saying that to him. It's just that a little bit of the Mako poisoning that's still, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if I can like spoil completely, in the original, you never actually meet Sephiroth until like the last disc. Pretty much, Sephiroth throughout the entire plot of the game is encased in a crystal.
Mm-hmm,
So in Crisis Core, when
mm-hmm.
Cloud, the actual Cloud, somehow manages to lift Sephiroth from his sword and throw him into the reactor. Well, he never moved. He's still there.
Oh,
But it gets kind of wonky, right? He's projecting himself through Genova's cells around the world. So that's
mm-hmm.
what's him having in the original. But like in this one, it's much more. Yeah, it's much more Cloud. It's not like Cloud. It almost seems like he's an apparition more than a clone.
Right.
Usually they were more like clones, but here it seems like he actually inside his head. And
Mhm.
this is a totally new thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see where it goes, man. I'm invested. Like I said, I think we're at a point in the story where we haven't got to the really huge moments yet,
The
but
meat of it, yeah.
we got a lot of game left. This is going to be a long ass game, dude. Me and Jan, if we're gonna have to sit down this week and talk about future shows. We had hoped that our final thoughts on the game would be like at the end of March. But I don't know. This game is huge. I mean, maybe if we really buckle down, maybe be able to beat it before then. But I know I'm super excited to really get back into it. I have just as much fun talking about it as I do playing it. So I'm super excited to get more into it. So Jan, what are any final thoughts on your first 11, 12 hours or so of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth?
Well, I'm. It's pretty much what you said. I know that I still haven't gotten to the real meat of it. But for now, I'm happy with what I've seen. I'm happy with the basis they've given us, except for a little nitpicks with the open world. I just hope that not every region we come to is the same shit, right?
Yeah.
Sadly, going, oh man, Cloud, this is a new region. You know what that means? You better get to work, right? You better start climbing those towers.
Yeah, save the world. No, we need intel, bitch.
Yeah. About what? About some endangered species of fucking mutant wolves that give you like what are we doing?
I mean, if the world burns, there's gonna be no intel to grab. So, like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, I mean, imagine,
Yes.
dude, imagine. So the end, like the final cutscene of the final game, Sephiroth actually makes it. He destroys the entire world.
Mhm.
But here comes Chadley with the intel we've been giving him throughout the game. With that intel, he recreates the world. Imagine that.
Dude, yeah, he recreated. Well, no, actually, I got you one even better.
Let's hear it.
He's collecting all the intel. He collects every summon material he can and forms Ultima from Final Fantasy 16. And he comes in, and there's a big final battle
He comes in clutch
between these two gods. Maybe Ultima gets the upper hand and defeats Sephiroth. I'm just saying some bullshit. Defeats Sephiroth, but then he's like, you know what? I'm going to kill Cloud and everybody else too. So he kills all them, and then Clive Rossfield comes through at the Icon of Fire and goes out there and destroys him. It's in this whole time, this whole trilogy, which is a continuation of Clive's story, and Clive came back to life.
Imagine that. No, dude. Okay, I got you one better. No, we're building up on this. I think that this whole trilogy is it's a prequel to FF16. This is how Ultima came to be. Chadley is the first person to ever summon him.
That's right.
It's him.
Dude.
Actually, yeah, and the Ultima we talked to in Final Fantasy 16, that's like 1,000 years after Chadley summoned him. Like at this point, Chadley's mind and Ultima's are so merged together. And all the all the little flashbacks you get in FF16, you get the little exposition dump.
Mm-hmm.
All the little tablets you see, that's Chadley's data, that's Chadley's intel.
Dude, I like it. I like it. Dude, you can merge those two games, the new mainline game with Final Fantasy VII. There you go. Merge it. You're good to go.
Awesome.
I mean, you already got the Buster Sword in Final Fantasy 16. You have to explain that somehow. So there you go. Yeah, dude, I've told you this. Yes. On my entire second playthrough of Final Fantasy 16, I used the Buster Sword the entire time.
Where'd you get it?
You can get it. So the Buster Sword itself, like the stats, are kind of trash, but the design of the Buster Sword is awesome. So like when you're in the hideaway, and there's like what is that thing called where you can do like fights in this little demo area where essentially you can practice your skills and how to use. You go up to it and then you can change like your outfit, and you can also change what your sword looks like. So you can keep like the best sword in the game and just make it look like the Buster Sword. Like I was literally like looked like I had the Buster Sword the entire time, and you can get the Buster Sword in the game. So like, come on, man, there's a connection there.
Oh, it's a DLC.
Yeah, I thought I told you this.
Yeah, I probably just forgot. Sorry, I got the memory
Yeah,
of like gold.
dude, for sure. Like when I do go back and play 16, because I still got to play the 2 DLCs, I'm using the Buster Sword the whole time.
Yeah, no, same.
You got to. It looks awesome. It looks awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
But anyway, so all in all, though, it's living up to your expectations, and you're ready to see what's coming up.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm the same way too, man. I think, like I was telling when we were talking about it in private message, I think for me, like I'm really trying to stay open-minded about a lot of things, even if there's things that I'm not. It's like to bring it even to like games like Persona 3 Reload. Like as much as that, like the story and stuff wasn't really super vibing with it. I really try to give it a fair shot. I put 11 hours into the game. I put 11 hours of my life into it because I was having a good time. And so I'm trying to do the same thing here, obviously, because I was already invested in this and these characters. I knew this game was going to be right on my alley. And it's so good that you want to find something wrong with the game. But honestly, I can't really find anything wrong besides the fact of the nitpicks, not being able to jump. I just feel like that would be great. I feel like some of the graphically, it looks amazing, but other times it looks a little washed out. The third thing is I wish that the character dynamics felt a bit more genuine, because sometimes I do get Final Fantasy 16 flashbacks where I'm running in an open field and there's nobody talking. I think it's so strange that we're still, and I get it, like that's extra dialogue, that's extra money, like that. I get the limitations in a studio because that probably takes more resources and you got to record the lines. It's a bit much. Like every game is going to be a Rockstar exclusive. Not every game is going to be a Naughty Dog type thing where you got all this dialogue. But I would have liked that. But other than that, man, I have nothing really bad to say. I can't wait to explore more regions. I'm gonna be like Jan. I'm already far. I'm on chapter 4. I just got to Junon. I'm probably gonna turn my ass back around to the grasslands and do side content for a little while because I really want to take my time with this game.
Oh, by the way,
I can't wait.
I didn't mention this, but there is one side activity, one side quest that is really fun in Junon. I'm not gonna spoil it for you. But it's really fun. It's very different.
It's in Junon.
There's one in Junon, yeah.
Dude, have you did when in the again we'll tie this up, and in the grasslands, did you come across? I'm assuming you have. You said you did everything. The Moogle tree or whatever.
Yeah, it was.
Dude, that shit, like yes, I guess I'm running around trying to catch these. Dude, I have, and correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the first time? Maybe not the first time, but
we've seen Moogles in FF7.
Well, that, but also too, like, did they talk? Like, you hear voices, like their actual voice recorded. Do they talk like in other games?
Yeah, sure they do.
Besides just dialogue, like they actually have a voice and they actually talk.
Yeah. And right now, I can only remember 13.2.
Okay, 13.2. Because in 16. In 16, they don't have a voice.
They go.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But you don't actually hear. So I couldn't remember because I hadn't played 10 or 12 in a long time, and the ones prior. So, well, obviously the ones prior didn't have voice acting, so that kind of cuts that out. But
they do speak in 13.2, and I think maybe in 14 also. Maybe.
How about Moogle? Are there any Moogle? There's got to be Moogles in 15, right?
Yeah, I don't remember. Honest to God. Remember.
I got you. I thought that was kind of weird. Like my wife was watching me play that part, and she's like, "What the fuck are you playing?" Because she doesn't know anything about Final Fantasy. And I'm like, it's Final Fantasy, man. She's like, "What the hell? This looks like some Winnie the Pooh type shit." I'm like, I'm telling you, it does look very happy, cheery, but that's Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah,
it's all
I think it's like it's kind of like exaggerated on purpose. There's a whole part where like Cloud kind of accepts to have the Moogle just because it's so cute. Like he gets all the filter with all the hearts and all that.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of made on purpose. It's played up for laughs, I think.
Yeah, and like I said, it had me like I definitely had a smirk on my face the whole time. Now whether it was overly positive, overly negative, I don't know, but I like stuff like that though. The Final Fantasy VII, and you know this just as well as anybody, and I know this, like the tone of 7, like it's so like up and down, like it has a general like darker story, but then the rest is just like up and down. You got funny moments, and you got the very much. It's I get it. Like I get it.
we're gonna see in this game. We're gonna see the part where Tifa has a slapping contest with Scarlet on top of on top of a cannon.
Really?
I think that's in Shunon. Yeah, it's a mini game. You gotta slap Scarlet very hard. It's no, it's ridiculous. Look it up.
Yeah. I hear that this game has all kinds of surprises, man. So I'm looking forward to it, dude. And it sounds like Jan's the same way. So with that being said, we'll get ready to get on out of here and end our Final Fantasy talk for now, because there's not really much else we can really say till we get farther into it. So thank you guys for coming for another episode of Deadhead Podcast, episode 43. We're almost at 50, baby. Talking about our first impressions of Final Fantasy VII. Let us know your thoughts down. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Let us know your thoughts down below. Don't forget to like this stream, subscribe, follow us everywhere. We love Final Fantasy. There'll be more to come, whether it be on the channel and videos or on the Deadhead Podcast. We have the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth final thoughts. I'm hoping by the end of March, but we'll see. If not, early April. And then we'll also be doing eventually, and again, me and Jan will talk more about it, but we'll also be doing a Final Fantasy 16 one and soon, because we got to play both DLCs. It probably is better, just like honestly, with to go with Jan's original idea, knocking out both DLCs at the same time is probably the best way to go. If it seems to be a bit much, we'll space it out. But I think right now we'll definitely tackle them both. So we got a lot of Final Fantasy content. So if you like that kind of stuff, feel free to keep around, because we enjoy having you. So Jan, anything else you want to say to the people before we bounce out of here?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I got nothing. Sometimes you just got nothing. Just, see you guys. See you next time.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
That was beautiful, man. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it. Come back for episode 44. Should have a special guest. We'll make more announcements. Until then, and with that being said, we'll see you next one. Stay dead, my friends.